So you're a Vastu expert. People must be dying to just hire you, right?
Yes, of course.
आपको वास्तु में इंटरेस्ट कैसे आया?
Like, what is the connect? And that's how I dived into Vastu Shastra.
How does relationship matter and how can it affect
What kind of relationships?
the saas bahu?
Oh,
They love each other or they want to kill each other.
that's
You
true.
know, you take care of the buildings, you understand them very well. Because we are in Mumbai, building structures, do you think that is accurate 100%?
Putting copper wire under the floor all around the building, which is such a wrong concept.
Can be dangerous.
That can be dangerous.
How can one find person who practices correctly, ensuring that they're going to guide you in the right direction?
So, come to me, I can give you some tips.
What kind of crystals are there?
It depends on the Vastu problem.
What are other misconceptions in terms of Vastu that you would like to tell people about it?
No.
You know, Vastu Shastra is something which was discovered thousands of years ago. We are now learning more about how it works. Now, connecting to the right Vastu Shastra specialist is a very important factor of life. Ensuring that you are not being duped into a wrong aspect of somebody just going on YouTube and learning how Vastu works, and somebody just giving you wrong remedies, or somebody just inculcating a voodoo practices in them. It doesn't work that way. You have to ensure that you're being connected to the right person and it actually happens at the right time. Today, our guest is a perfect example because she is a civil engineer and she practices Vastu. So imagine the power that she has when she runs through a Vastu remedies with you, and she believes keeping Vastu at a very nominal cost. So it is explored with every single person and not only just wealthies. Today with us, we have Barnali Sarkar, who is a Vastu specialist, and she'll teach you today how to ensure you take care of your health, wealth, and relationship using Vastu with some nice modern tips and tricks. Also, we have had a conversation in terms of how some of the temples in India are very much of a Vastu compliant and how amazing it works. Make sure you stay till the end because today's podcast is going to teach you a lot in terms of Vastu, and there are a lot of tips and recommendations which is going to help you in all the aspects of life. See you at the end. Welcome Barnali Sarkar to Kabir Vani podcast.
Thank you so much.
कैसे हैं आप?
मैं ठीक हूँ. आप कैसे हो?
मस्त एकदम. Podcast is something my life. I love it. So nothing makes me happier than being here talking to my beautiful guests about their experiences.
Thank you so much. And I also love to talk about Vastu. And
Great.
it's
So you're
also
a Vastu expert,
nice
yes?
talking to you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you so much. So you're a Vastu expert.
I'm a Vastu follower, believer.
Okay, Vastu follower and believer. Okay,
Yes.
please tell me more that कि आपको वास्तु में interest कैसे आया? Because you're from an engineering background.
Yes.
Okay, so what
Um,
intrigued you for following the Vastu?
I'm a civil engineer
Ah.
and an interior designer by education. So, since past about 24, 25 years, I have been working in the real estate construction industry. I do industrial building design. So, I'm a hardcore civil engineer. When I was a student and studying civil engineering, at that point of time, I came across IS codes. We all civil engineers, we have to follow IS codes, learn about it when we are doing any design.
Hmm.
During that, I came to know that a lot of IS codes have been written based on Vastu Shastra.
Hmm.
And that is the moment which got me inquisitive. You know, Vastu Shastra is a very ancient science. Like what is the connect? And that's how I dived into Vastu Shastra, learned about it, and now I'm a big fan and follower.
So it goes perfect, na? Civil engineering and Vastu kind of like goes hand in hand. People must be dying to just hire you, right?
So I believe that I understand buildings inside out.
Okay.
So I understand structures as a part of civil engineering. I understand the finishes, the look and feel as a part of being an interior designer.
Hmm.
But I also understand the directional or zonal righteousness, what is correct, what I should do, the energies, because I follow Vastu. I've
Great.
learned Vastu.
That's awesome. So, talking about, you said that you take care of the buildings, you understand them very well, right?
Yeah.
So, because we're in Mumbai, right? We're in a city. So most of the building structures that we have has some of them have south entrance. Some of them have perfect north entrance. Like now it's said that north is the best entrance to have. According to you, do you think that is accurate 100%?
No. First of all, I believe that, and also Vastu Shastra says that all directions have their own specialities. In every direction, whether it's east, west, north, or south, there is something good, something bad. And each direction, if I stand at the center or the Brahmastan, the space around me can be divided into 32 zones, each belonging to 11.25 degrees. And each of the 11.25 degrees segments has its own speciality. It's not true. It's a very big myth that all east side entrances are good, all north side entrances are good, all west side entrances are bad, and south entrances are bad. That's not true. In every direction, there is something good and something that can be rectified, as I would say. In Mumbai, as you rightly mentioned, I mean, space is a constraint. And it's not possible to have 100% Vastu aligned home. So some things can be definitely worked upon, rectified, and space can be improved.
Space can be improved. Now, I think Vastu has those 5 elements that we speak about, right? So please, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, of course. The 5 elements of Vastu are water, air, fire, earth, and space. So if I talk about water, the mostly fairly about the north zone, that would be the water element, and that zone is also responsible for your income, for flow. Liquidity, liquid cash. So north, northwest, northeast, these zones are the water zones and related to water elements. Mostly the east direction is related to air element, and it is also responsible for fun in your life. Then as you move towards southeast, that is the direction for fire. So fire in your home, which means the kitchen, and also fire inside you, which is ambition, aspiration, that too. Then as you keep moving, so southwest, south, these are the zones for related to earth, and they bring in stability into your life, relationships and stability, power position in the society. All these are related to the south and southwest zones. Then as you move towards west, northwest, these directions are related to space. And quite contrary to popular belief, west is not a bad zone. The west zone is responsible for all your materialistic gains that you aspire to be. For example, you want to own an asset. So that is the zone which is responsible for your assets.
Wow, all right. So those are the things that people think, that everything has a way of life, like just say north mein hi rakhna hai, west mein hi rakhna hai. It's not true.
No.
Everything can work in your favor at that point.
Yes, if you know the right direction.
If you know the right direction.
Yes, absolutely.
What are so this is one of the misconceptions. What are other misconceptions that there are in terms of Vastu that you would like to tell people about it?
While practicing Vastu, I have come across people who have been wrongly advised. And there is a common belief that if you have a wrong element, say a toilet in the north or northeast, that is considered to be a wrong thing, wrong element in your direction of prosperity and mental clarity, which is true. But people advise, a lot of Vastu Shastris, they advise using copper wire. And they also advise, putting copper wire under the floor all around the building, which is such a wrong concept. Because if you do that, you are also cutting off or blocking off the positive aspects of a zone. And it's not universally usable material, copper. So copper has its special zone, special direction where it can be used, and in some direction, some other metal is to be used. So half-baked knowledge, when implemented, that can cause harm to people.
That can be dangerous.
That can be dangerous.
Also about the fact, I want to know, there are elements like, sorry, not elements, like crystals that there are. So, some of them we have like pyrites that brings you luck and
Yeah.
monetary gains, right? So it's supposed to be certain amount of weightage that you have to keep, right? Now, many of them, they go across because pyrites are very expensive, honestly speaking. So how does that work? Can like a small amount be as equivalent to a big one, or you have to go for a big one only?
So I've seen people recommending usage of crystals in huge quantities and very randomly. That is not to be used.
Okay.
Crystals are very useful when you want to correct a Vastu dosh that is there in the plot or related to a wrong entrance.
Okay.
Primarily, in these two cases, crystals can be used apart from few more. Okay, but when you are planning to or recommending any crystal, first of all, in Vastu, you need not recommend stones in jewelry category. Okay, so these are raw stones which cost much less.
Okay.
So, for example, in a certain zone, I might recommend someone, depending on the extent of the zone, on extent of the dosh, say 1 kg or 1.25 kgs of raw tiger eye stone. So then it is very wrong. I mean, I've seen people, instead of recommending 1.25 kgs, they have gone ahead and recommended 50 kgs. So,
Okay.
so that costs a lot, and no one should be burdened with such things.
Because they're already going through certain amount of stress.
Yes.
And it's becomes more financially tricky to add those kind of heavy crystals in there.
Absolutely.
I've had a lot of people come here on my podcast talk about Vastu, right? So we've spoken about pyramids. They've spoken about other things that you can inculcate into your Vastu to enhance the vibrations of your house.
Yes.
I think in our podcast, you're the first person where you're talking about crystals. All right. So what kind of crystals are there, and how do they help in terms of energizing your home or your commercial space?
So, depending on the zone where the main entrance is, suppose it falls in a wrong pada. Okay, the main entrance is in the wrong pada. So then, to correct that, you will have to use stone crystals which are of the raw nature. Okay, so they would cost something to the tune of rupees 4,000 a kg to 10,000 a kg, depending on what stone I'm recommending. And what stone I recommend, it depends on the Vastu dosh exactly belonging to that part.
Okay.
I cannot just give any, it's not one pill all diseases.
Okay. So it depends on the person's...
It depends on the Vastu problem.
Vastu problem. Okay.
Yes.
So the crystals are on the Vastu problem.
Yes.
It's not has anything to do with numerology or anyone's astrology.
No, these stones or crystals are not related to the astrological gemstones.
Okay. They're different.
They are different.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. These are raw crystals which are to be, at times I tell them to keep at a place, or at times I might say that you need to excavate near the entrance and put it there and again cover it up. So depending on the problem, there is a solution.
Okay.
And these are not expensive at all.
They're very reasonable to have.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, but I've seen people wrongly recommend such costly crystals just for the sake of wrong intent or business.
Yeah,
it's like someone having a viral fever but taking a pill for pneumonia. So it could be so wrong.
That happens a lot.
Yeah. So,
how is Vastu in comparative to numerology or astrology?
So, see, numerology and astrology both take into consideration the person's birth details, birth date, time, location, and then detailed charts are drawn. Astrology is much more detailed and requires a lot of intricate understanding, interpretation. Okay. On today's date, you just enter the birth details into a computer program and you can draw the birth chart. Okay. So drawing the birth chart is not a problem. It's not a big deal. But interpreting the nuances of the planetary positions, that's important. So in numerology, so I practice numerology. I'm not an astrologer. But in numerology, we also do the same thing, similar thing. Taking the birth details and then plotting to get a simpler version of the the right path for the person.
Mm.
When I do Vastu analysis of any space, I take into consideration the person's problems first,
Mm.
and then go back to his birth details and draw out a numerology chart and see, like, is this problem that he's currently facing related to something related to his birth chart? And then I give solutions for numerology as well as Vastu Shastra, so that not only the person's individual recommendations or upliftment happens, but also the space where he's sitting, where he resides, that is also uplifted.
Okay, so
So
it
it's
works
a
more hand to hand.
yes, it
Okay.
works more hand to hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, there's a very concept of your energies that
Yeah.
matters a lot.
Yes, it does.
Because there are so many people out there who has achieved things which were out of their numerological, astrological, or Vastu charts, right?
Right.
And this, I feel, are somehow, some way related to manifestation or law of attraction.
Very interesting subject.
So I would like to know, how does Vastu can be in coordinates with law of attraction and manifestation? And the question about that, what if there is some kind of Vastu dosh? Okay, but then can a person manifest their way out of it?
So, though I practice numerology and my brother practices astrology, but I tell everyone, whoever comes to me, my friends, my clients, whoever works with me, I tell them, so consider your astrology or numerology, palmistry, whatever predictions have been made for you as a map.
Mm.
Okay, you are standing here, you want to go from point A to point B, and interpretation of astrological chart or numerological chart, that gives you the different options or the different pathways to reach point B. But apart from these, you also have something called free will.
Mm.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been human beings, right? We have that special quality of willpower.
Mm.
Don't follow any astrology or numerological prediction very stringently.
Mm.
Okay, observe that. Understand what are the options that you have in hand. But please don't forget to dream. It's very important to dream. It's very important to have your own free will.
Mm.
And yes, as you rightly say, maybe it happened with me also. Someone predicted something for me, but I didn't want that. I wanted to make it big in something. I wanted to get a project done, and that has happened. So definitely our free will manifestation, that has a very important role in fulfilling our dreams in our lives. I believe in 3 C's. One is that clarity. Before you want to manifest anything, have clarity in your mind what you want. Many a times we don't have that clarity. We move from one topic to another topic. One day I might think, I need a 1 lakh rupees job. Tomorrow I'll sit down for manifestation meditation and I'll think that, nahi, ye 1.2 hota to acha hota. So, first C is clarity. Be sure of what you want. Number 2 is confirmation, which is that whatever your dream is, align your internal thoughts according to your dream. That is conformity. Unless you wholeheartedly want that, okay, how will God help you to make that work out? And number 3 is your commitment. What is commitment? It means that you don't only sit for meditation, you only wish, because then it would be only daydreaming. Whatever actions you take in life, please make sure to take it with conviction and in alignment with your goal. If you are looking to get married, if you don't meet people, then if you sit in your home and just brood, then how will you
So
get
my
your life?
Prince Charming will come on a white
Yes,
horse and
that
pick me up
doesn't
and go, yeah?
So go out and meet people. That is the action, that is the commitment you need towards your dream. So these are the 3 C's I believe in.
I love the concept of the 3 C's, and I really
Thank you.
hope that people will utilize this 3 C's that there is in life. Now, you spoke about meditation in the part of manifesting the right things and having the right intentions in place. How much is Vastu is comparatively and in requirement of spirituality, meditation, and manifestation? And how can they all work together at this point of time?
So the thing is that I believe in Vastu, but I believe that there are two aspects of Vastu. One is the external Vastu.
Hmm.
If you sit in a dirty room and try to meditate, of course, your meditation won't be that focused. So you need to improve the physical space where you are in and align that as per Vastu to elevate whatever you want to do.
Hmm.
Okay. Number two is your internal Vastu. By internal Vastu, I mean that if you don't have the right intent, if you don't reflect on your actions, and if you don't correct the wrong things that you are doing, you will not reach your goal. So I believe in this dual form of Vastu, external Vastu as well as internal Vastu.
Okay.
Can I give an example?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that do you have a story that you can share with us?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. A very interesting one.
Great.
So I met a gentleman who is the CEO of an organization. Okay. So I was doing his numerology analysis and he wanted insights on his future. So I was discussing with him and told him what's working, what good things are going to happen, what precautions he needs to take, all of that. So at the end of it, he had a question. But just tell me one thing. Why does achieving everything seem so difficult? I said, what? You are such a well-to-do person. You are prosperous, blessed with such a wonderful family. Why do you say that? He said, no. Whatever goal I set for myself, I find that I have to walk the extra mile. There is a lot of hurdle in achieving that.
Hmm.
Okay. So, I didn't tell him then right on his face, but, he's a person who doesn't support people in his own team when they are in need.
Hmm.
It's not monetary support that I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Every person in every role has an aspiration as a dream.
Hmm.
He's a person who focuses on people or trusts people or likes to work with people who are in the forefront.
Hmm.
But there are a lot of backbenchers, a lot of people at the back end who is tirelessly working for him. When they are in need, then I have seen that he has not stood up and supported them.
Hmm.
So he's a classic example that in his chart, such good things are written. But because he faces continuous conflicts and struggles and extra hurdles, just because his internal Vastu alignment is not proper.
Not proper. Okay,
So-
that matters a lot. So
Yes.
you have to have your internal Vastu fixed as well.
Yes.
Not
Reflect
only
back
the
on- yes.
outside Vastu.
Yes.
This gives me a remembrance of one of those stories where this one uncle worked at a company for 45 years. And, his son was like, how come you have never thought about changing? Because you have not got so much of a monetary gain out of it. And you've been working and you've been loyal to this company for so long. Why is that? And said that the reason is when I had started the journey with this company, in few years down the line, the CEO of that company had walked down, passing through, and he was at a very small position at that point of time.
Mhm.
But yet, the CEO of this company remembered his name,
Oh,
and he touched his shoulder, saying that, whatever the name is, hey, thank you for being here.
awesome.
And that thing got stuck in his head, saying that the CEO of the company, where else I have no connection with him. I have a boss, his boss has a boss, his boss has a boss, and
Right.
over that there's a CEO. But yet he knew who I was, and he did not. When he was passing through, he had still had courtesy of touching me on my shoulder, saying thank you for being here, and taking my name. And that was the thought process that I had, and that was my loyalty towards him because he knew me. And that's, I think, what makes a good CEO. You take Ratan Tata, sir, for it. Like everybody loved him.
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
crazy. Why? I think because of the fact that he had done unimaginable things when it came to especially taking care of his employees. And not also that, I think he was a big, what do you call it, lover of dogs as well, that he used to take care of them so much too. So all of these things does matter at that point of time.
Yes.
Bringing me to a different question from here is going to be the fact that how much of a spirituality can affect your Vastu, right? Like, what is spirituality in your perspective? And is that something similar to religion for you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So Religion is the practices that we do in our quest to, getting blessed by divinity
Hmm.
with different purposes. But I think spirituality is nothing but to connect with the divine. So these two are very different
Hmm.
from each other. While a religious person may or may not be spiritual, a spiritual person again may or may not be religious, but the purposes are very different.
Okay, so spirituality, and how can spirituality help one to ensure that they're aligning themselves inside out when it comes to Vastu?
So I have seen some, very magical things happening. There is a gentleman who is very spiritual. He went on a family vacation to Uttarakhand, and like we all do, he met a sadhu baba, and he asked a question that there is a sadness in my heart. I have a problem. Can you please help me to solve it? Then sadhu baba said, sitting there so far away from his home, said that there is one vastu dosh in your home. Just see how people, when you're spiritually aligned, how you get the solution.
Hmm.
Okay. So this gentleman goes back home, he's scrolling through social media, and he sees my post on LinkedIn. And then he connects with me after 10, 12 years.
Oh, you already knew the person before.
But long ago, in between, we had lost
Correct,
touch.
correct.
I didn't know him.
Hmm.
We were not connected. So again, we connected, and I helped him to solve his problem.
Wow.
That's
And where
all.
did so he went to Uttarakhand to find the solution for something that has Vastu, something wrong with Vastu at his home.
At his home, one vastu problem.
One Vastu problem, which is giving him trouble and sadness in his heart.
Yes.
And then he reaches out back to you. So it's like the triangle connection.
Yes,
between you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
It was miraculous. So I believe that when a person is spiritually aligned, solutions come to him automatically.
Now, you know how you mentioned that Babaji had said there was something very small which was wrong at his home, which needs to be fixed. Now, when it comes to a residential space, right? Now, of course, because we are in Mumbai, so it becomes difficult for you to make a bungalow of yourself or change anything in your flats.
Right.
How can we ensure that what colors and artifacts we can have at home to meet the Vastu compliance and the energies aligning to us?
So just as I was mentioning that every direction is connected with a different element like water, air, earth, fire, space. Similarly, every direction has its own special color. Okay. Suppose you have a minor Vastu dosh in the north direction, then that can be corrected, and the energy of that zone can be improved by using relevant colors such as blue, off-white, all of that you can use. If you're not able to do, change the painting due to some reason, then you can use some artifacts, some certain things, and there are also some Vastu tools which you can keep in that direction so that the energy of that zone can improve. And your cash flow improves, your mental clarity, strategic thinking, all of that can improve.
So, can you give us some artifact that we can keep in certain position to improve our financial stability?
Oh, of course. So, whether it's your office or your home, in the north area, you can keep a silver bowl, a big bowl, and put some water and preferably some rose petals in it, or any flowers. Okay. Keep it in that direction, and it will not only make you feel good, but it will also improve your financial situation.
Okay.
The small artifact. I mean, people keep it for decorative reasons.
Right.
Keep a beautiful bowl.
Okay.
And if it's made of silver, it would be better.
Okay, great. We were talking about in terms of the spaces that we are. So we talk about residential, it's easier to do. A lot of people, when it comes to commercial properties like office settings that we have or factories that we have, how can one ensure that their factories and offices are Vastu compliant?
All right. So one of the major things, when you are renting a space or buying a space for your office, keep in mind that that space should not have a toilet or a motor room in the north and northeast zone.
North or northeast zone?
That is something that you need to be very careful of. And likewise, there are a few major Vastu doshas which you need to take care of.
Okay.
Apart from that, a big way in which the energies of a commercial space, of an office space, can improve is by reorganizing the seating. So every department has a designated zone depending on the function where they will perform better and contribute to the company better.
Oh, wow. So how can one find out those zones?
So for that, few tips I can give you.
Please,
right?
yeah, that's of course they have to find you and talk to you about getting the perfect alignment of it. But if they have to do just minute changes, just to see it
Okay.
works.
So make sure that the supreme boss of that office, the MD or the CEO, he sits in the southwest zone.
Southwest. Okay.
Yeah, and the finance and accounts department, they sit in the north zone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And how about the creative department?
So it depends on into what they are.
Okay.
If it's a design office, it will then the architects or the designers, they should sit in the southwest.
Okay.
In the south or southwest area direction.
Okay. Yeah. Great. How about the fact of having a mandir or a religious place at a certain corner of the room?
The best location, and this not only me, I think most people know, is the northeast zone.
Okay.
So whether it's your home, your office, your factory, wherever you are,
okay,
the northeast zone is the most spiritually elevated zone, and please place your puja temple in that zone.
Okay, puja northeast.
Yeah, okay. It should be such place that when you are offering puja, you are facing northeast.
And how much does sitting in a certain position and practicing your meditation or manifestation matters?
Okay, so there are different, as I mentioned, different directions have their different specialities. So in general, meditation is connecting with the divine. Northeast is the best direction to have your own meditation room,
okay,
or your puja area, or your spiritual zone. If you sit there and do your meditation, you'll be able to focus better and get divine insights better.
So you're talking about sitting there, or you're talking about facing that?
Sitting and facing both.
Sitting and facing.
Yeah.
So you cannot sit in a different direction facing there. Could that be okay?
If you cannot sit in the northeast zone,
okay,
then sit in the north or east zone.
Okay.
Otherwise, any other zone. But
face the
northeast would be the best thing. But if possible, create your spiritual space, your meditation room in the northeast area.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. All right. How much does, because of the factor, the designs and the structures of the way we meditate, our spirituality is so much into it. Our mandirs that we have, the temples that we talk about, are constructed in a way where it's very highly Vastu compliant.
Yeah, you'll find examples all across India. And, I am more of a spiritual person than religious person, but I just love the beautiful temple architecture our Hinduism has gifted to India. So, and one of my most favorite temples is Puri Jagannath Temple. I've visited there quite a few times. And it is said that the heart of Lord Krishna that resides in Sri Jagannath's idol. Okay. So it's considered to be one of the holiest shrines, one of the holiest Tirthasthan in Hinduism. So I just love Puri Jagannath Temple for many reasons.
Of course.
And very interestingly, the Vastu of Sri Jagannath Puri Temple is perfect. The as per Vastu, your kitchen should be in the southeast. So Puri Jagannath Temple has a very, very special quality. Every day, a lot of food is cooked, and a lot of people from all across the world, they visit the temple, and never any food goes waste. So in Puri Jagannath Temple, the kitchen is in the southeast corner, the perfect zone for having a kitchen. There is a bathing area in the northeast side, which is considered to be very auspicious. Water body in the northeast side is considered to be very holy.
Mm.
In Sri Jagannath temple, that is exactly what it is.
Well, okay.
The shrine, the Garbhagriha is such that the deity faces east.
Okay.
Yeah. So in all aspects, it is a very, very Vastu compliant temple. The temple compound is a perfect square, which is one of the most important guiding principles as per Vastu Shastra. So, and you know how famous Sri Jagannath temple is, and with so many footfalls, so many devotees coming every day. So it's one of the temples.
So I think one of the temples where I heard of. I've never been there. Inshallah, we'll go there one day. But it says that doesn't matter how many people come there, the food never runs out.
Yes.
It's always enough for everyone, and
Absolutely.
it's always there. Like you said, never goes to waste as well.
Yes.
So that is something definitely a miracle. How much over there? Like so, the area, the concept of this particular temple, because this temple must be very old.
It's thousands of years.
Thousands of years old. So how much old our Vastu Shastra must be for them to even build this temple in a perfect manner, and the architects of those times, not to have this kind of knowledge. Or I feel the otherwise. I feel while we have grown in terms of knowledge, somehow somewhere we have lost touch for the actual knowledge that the other and the older architects had.
Oh, it's coming back actually. Maybe we have.
So we rediscovering it.
Yeah, maybe see, today we are adopting so much of solar energy.
Correct.
Right? We are trying to build green buildings. I think architects of today are striving, doing their best to incorporate the natural energies into the building designs. So that was the original concept of Vastu Shastra. You tell me why is it recommended in Vastu Shastra to have your kitchen in the southeast? Can you tell me?
No, I think I'll let you answer that.
So, mostly in all households, we used to, until today, we finish our lunch by noontime.
Noontime, yes.
Okay.
Mostly.
The afternoon sun comes via southeast.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, so after you've had your meal, you have cleaned up the entire kitchen. What would you like to do? The best thing to do in your kitchen? Disinfect it.
Yeah. Clean it
Okay.
up. Yeah.
If you are having your kitchen in the southeast corner and the sun's rays fall in your kitchen, what will it do? It will disinfect. So it's a natural disinfectant. Just see how Vastu Shastra is scientific.
Correct.
You won't believe, when I was studying civil engineering, I came across a lot of different branches of civil engineering. One of them was soil engineering, like how to do soil testing, how to find out whether a plot is good to build a home, good to build a multi-storied structure. All of that is taught in soil engineering. In Vastu Shastra, in about so many years ago, it was written how to test the soil. Okay, you need to, for example, how to check the water table.
Okay.
You dig a hole which is 1 hand wide by 1 hand long and 1 hand deep. Okay, and then you fill it with water. Leave it for some time. If the level of water goes down, then it means that the soil is parched and the water table is low. It's just common sense. But it was so wonderfully written in Vastu Shastra.
Of course.
Vastu Shastra, as you asked, let me answer that. It was written about 3,000 years ago. Though it was conceptualized much earlier, no one knows exactly, but it is said around 5,000 years back, but it was formally written down about 3,000 years ago. It's a part of our Atharva Veda. We have 4 Vedas. So, Vastu Shastra, or Vastu Shilp, or Vastu Veda, it was called during those times. It is an Upaveda, written out of Atharva Veda. It is not voodoo, it is not black magic, it is not just energy. It's actually an ancient science of how to build your homes. And it was written for all.
For all, yeah, absolutely. And I think we are finally figuring that out. Do we have any other temples similar to this that has a very
wonderful
unique
Vastu
concept? Yes.
Okay, so I'll talk about a temple whom we all respect, that is Tirupati Balaji.
Of course.
Okay, so Tirupati Balaji, tell me how famous that temple is.
Very. I think I've I've
One of
heard
the
about it.
richest temples
One
in
of the
India.
richest temples.
One
I
of the
think even
most
that's
revered temples in
also
India.
where a lot of food is also being cooked there as well. I
Yes,
believe.
yes. So that temple is another spectacular example of Vastu.
Hmm.
Okay. This temple has hills on all sides except northeast.
Hmm.
Okay, as per Vastu guidelines. In this temple, there are water bodies. There is a waterfall called Akash Ganga, which is about 3 kilometers away from the temple in the northeast.
Hmm.
And that water is supposedly used in the puja rituals.
Hmm.
Okay, it has a granary that is food grain storage in the north and northwest. Again, as per Vastu Shastra, its dining hall is in the southeast,
Hmm.
as per Vastu Shastra. So it has a lot of elements as per Vastu Shastra. It is another example where the entire temple compound is a perfect square.
Hmm.
So you can see how, having Vastu compliant buildings, even if it is in the form of temples, it works.
It works well.
Yes.
I think also the fact that back in days when we were kind of we were evolving as human beings, right? Of course, we did not have electricity and all this air going across. So they have had a very unique way of putting up the sun, the mirrors in certain ways that the sun would reflect, and doesn't matter what it is, you will still have a proper the light in your house. It's always air. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
absolutely.
happens. I think those concepts are coming back into our civilization as of now.
Yes. So use of natural ventilation, use of natural lighting, because as I mentioned, I'm also into industrial buildings and all.
Mm.
So I keep seeing, I have a lot of friends who are great architects. Okay, they are incorporating, very thoughtful architecture. They are, planning. They are observing the sun path while designing offices, while designing homes. I think we are
Getting
going
into
back
the
to our roots.
back to our
Yes,
roots. Yeah,
yes.
because it's such a wonderful concept, no? Because you don't have to rely on AC, or you don't have to rely on fan, or to turn on the lights, because the home that I live in right now, right, so it faces east, right? I mean, I have a window that faces east.
Okay.
So during the whole day, I never need to turn on the light. Okay, because the sun comes up and it's always light, no matter what happens.
Wow.
And I think that is something which I truly love about my home as well, of the fact which is always bright. Till the time I think it's almost 6:30, 7 o'clock, that's when I have to turn on. Abhi recently ऐसा हो गया कि 6 बजे हो रहा है. But till the time then, it was almost 6:30, 7 o'clock, I don't have to turn on the lights.
And it also uplifts you, right?
It does,
You feel
kind of,
energized.
yeah, it does. And for now, Bhakti has to remind me, Are, you know what, it's prayer time, go ahead and turn on the lights. That's the only time we actually go and, oh yeah, you know what, well, Varna, it's always very, very bright, very calming, and very nice to have and walking into a home which is always like that.
Very
So I
nice.
love the fact
Awesome.
that we are in Mumbai and we have been blessed with a home like that. And of course, air has always been a part of that. So absolutely. Barnali, I wanted to know about how Vastu can be a major part of our health. We already spoke about it.
Correct.
So we need to talk about in terms of health. Okay, how can it also affect a person's health if there is a problem in Vastu, maybe in their lives or wherever they live or wherever they work.
Vastu has a big role, apart from the person's individual habits. I mean, if he consistently overeats, he'll become overweight.
Correct.
But there could be some Vastu, Vastu problems which help in or which cause health issues. Okay. So, for example, if there is a Vastu dosh in the southwest,
Okay.
it generally is a cause for diabetes and overweight. Even, people who want to gain weight in such a house will find it difficult.
Okay, so it's a reverse effect of what's
So, anything related to body weight, that will become troublesome if there is a problem in the southwest.
Southwest. Okay.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people have, let's say, bathrooms in southwest.
Correct.
So what can they do to ensure that the obesity or diabetes are not being part of their lifestyle? Can they change the place where they eat, or can they eat in a certain zone to ensure that doesn't affect them much?
See, eating in the correct zone would impact their gut health, digestion, all of that. But if there is still a problem in the southwest, it will you won't be able to find out the reason. But it will be very difficult to lose weight.
Okay.
So such is the problem.
Okay.
And yes, there are very effective solutions in Vastu to correct, such Vastu doshas. It could be a water body in the southwest zone, could be a toilet in the southwest zone. So all these problems are very easily corrected.
So
Yeah.
what can person do? A small recommendation if you can.
Okay. If there is any Vastu dosh in the southwest zone, please paint the room in yellow.
Okay.
Okay. Yellow or brown. Any shade of yellow or brown. Could be yellow ochre, lemon yellow, mustard yellow, brown. Paint it in that color. That is a very effective and quick solution.
Okay.
That will elevate the space. You can also put on a yellow bulb in that room.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
you can in the whole room they can put a yellow
Yes.
bulb. Okay.
Yeah.
If can they put like some kind of artifact which is yellow in color
Yes.
or anything like that?
Furnishings like curtains,
Okay.
bed sheets.
Okay.
Think innovatively and implement yellow and brown in that room.
Into that. That's
And
important.
also, it is important to be mindful that you should not use anything related to in the family of blue or green in a southwest.
in the southwest.
Yeah, be mindful about the carpet color or a plant. Shift it.
Okay.
It
All
will
right.
help
And you said that they can eat into a certain zone, so it ensures that their gut health and digestion is good. So what
Yeah.
zone would that be?
See, first of all, it's important to have the kitchen in the southeast. If not southeast, other directions are northwest and east. Okay, you can have your kitchens in these places, and outside these, closer to the kitchen location, you can have your dining area.
Okay, and you can sit there and eat for better
Yes,
gut health.
yes.
And, okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that आप ऐसी जब जगहों पर बैठे हो and then you're just hogging down pizzas and some unhealthy stuff. It's not doesn't work that way.
It also
Right.
means that if you have a elevated southwest zone and you keep on overeating and you'll still be thin.
It's
That
like, okay,
won't work.
it
So no
doesn't affect
cheating.
me. My Vastu is good.
No cheating.
No cheating, right? So I've heard that wrong Vastu can also have a ill effect of as big as cancer.
It does.
It does, okay.
Yeah.
And how does that work?
For example, if you are having a kitchen in a wrong direction, the female of the house can have, serious diseases related to bone, joints, could be gynecological problems.
Okay.
All of these come up. If you are having, and cancers are of different types. So, depending on where you are having the major Vastu dosh, it could give rise to a serious ailment, including cancer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And,
There could be other physical reasons also, outside world reasons. But if you have this wrong elements of design in the wrong zones, that can impact your health in a major way.
Major way. Wow. Okay. Can living in because there are Earth is into two hemispheres that we have, with northern and southern hemispheres. How does that impact? Because we are more on the north side, and how does that affect Vastu in person's life?
So, this was not written in original Vastu Shastra because it was written in India for Indians. But later on, a lot of people, a lot of very senior Vastu Shastris, they put their head together and they have come up with, Vastu Shastra guidelines for Southern Hemisphere. Okay. So one of those, the concept is very clear. It's not complex. Vastu Shastra was written on the basis of geomagnetic forces of Earth, considering those and how to live in a holistic manner. In the difference between northern and southern hemisphere is the pathway of the sun. In both the hemispheres, sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But in the northern hemisphere, the sun path is through southeast, whereas in the southern hemisphere, it is through northeast. So the Vastu guidelines, which hold true for east and west in the northern hemisphere, will also be true for southern hemisphere. But the guidelines or the directional elements for north and south will get reversed in the southern hemisphere. That is the difference. So while giving any kind of advice or doing any kind of analysis for any home or office or any space in southern hemisphere, one has to be little little deep dive a little more and be analytical while recommending.
Recommending the right remedies to them.
Yes.
Okay. Since we spoke about health, right? Now we come into the factor of second most important life, which is relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how does relationship matter, and how can it affect when it comes to Vastu?
So, what kind of relationships?
Let's start with
looking for a girlfriend, business connect, or family relationships.
No, let's start with the family, the immediate family, right? Mother, father, son, daughter.
Sure.
And then we'll jump into the next where it comes to the husband, wife, or finding a girlfriend and all. So first, mother, father, daughter.
No, it's also about spouses. So southwest of your home is very important for your family, whether it's your parents or children or spouse. So you need to amplify that zone.
Seems like Southwest has a very major impact on most of the things.
It has a lot to do with the stability of a person, whether it's physical stability, your health, or your relationship stability. Southwest is for that. And one needs to be very mindful. So, Southwest is so important that it is recommended that it's the best zone for master bedroom.
Correct.
Okay. So, it has a lot to do with your stability and relationships. So, I had met a gentleman who is a jeweler. He's from Mumbai. He is a fantastic person. As a human being, he's a gem of a person. He's second generation jeweler. His father had started the business many years ago from scratch. And his father had set up the business in a archaic way, as used to happen in older days. Not with technology, but more built on one-to-one relationship, trust, all of that. While that is to be regarded, to be respected, but on today's date, the son is facing problems because, when he wants to promote his business through networking and using social media, but the father is reluctant. Okay, so there is a little bit of, communication issues, maybe non-verbal communication, but whatever the son is trying to convey, that his father is not able to understand and accept.
Resonate with. Yes. Correct.
So, when he spoke to me, his first problem was this, that I need my papa to understand what I'm trying to tell him. He wants this business to grow. He loves his business. I also want the business to grow, but I'm not able to get through. How do I solve it? If that is solved, then I know a lot of my life problems will be solved. So the first thing I told him, what is there in the south and southwest zone? He told me, we worked together, made a lot of corrections. But another thing which I told him, put up photographs of your father and you together, along with other family members, and put them in a golden frame and put it on the southwest wall. It's still working, and I hope he's able to convey to his. They are able to come to an understanding and they're able to progress.
So that can work.
Yes, it's a very, very effective location when it comes to your family relationships.
Okay, and how about for someone who is not able to get married and not able to find the right spouse for themselves?
Yeah, first is finding the right person, right? So, whether it's your business, it holds true even for the business connections. If it's for your business or for your life partner, connecting with, meeting people, prospective groom. So there is a very young lady who came to me and she is looking for a life partner. So in those cases, it is important to look into the east, northeast and the east directions.
Okay.
East, northeast is the fun zone. Okay. So you create a lot of happy memories with people when you elevate that direction. And east direction is the direction for networking, for connecting with people in a bigger way. So if for your business, okay, suppose you are looking to connect with more people, do one small thing. Please charge your phone on the eastern side of your office.
Okay.
So when you elevate those directions, these two directions, you connect with more people. When you meet more people, then you are able to take a decision based on what your heart tells you. Yes.
Okay, great. And how about finding the right connects for your spouse?
Same. I mean, same directions. east, northeast.
East, northeast. It
and
works the
east.
same way for business and
Yes.
relationships. Okay.
And when you want that person to be, part of your family and your family to accept that person, so come to me. I can give you some tips to
Okay.
how to make that work. But
Okay.
then you need to keep both southwest and east elevated and energized.
Okay, great. And how about let's come to the most important relationship of all, the Saas Bahu.
Oh,
It's like the Saas Bahu has
yes,
been either they love each other or they want to kill each other.
that's
You know.
true.
So how does that
Fortunately,
go?
I belong to the first group.
You love each other.
My mother-in-law is my biggest fan. I just love her. And
Wow,
likewise, I just love her.
great. You're not saying that because you're on podcast.
No,
right?
because quite a few years back, I lost my mother,
Oh,
and since then, my mother-in-law. I mean, even before that, but since my mother passed away, my mother-in-law makes sure that I am the most loved one and the most
Oh.
pampered one in the family.
how amazing! How amazing! More
Yes.
blessing to her, and more power to you for that. That's
Thank you.
great. So if someone is facing that issues at
Mm.
home, with in-laws relationships, so how can one see that how Vastu is affecting?
It's very weird, but in maximum of cases, such cases I've seen that the location of the kitchen is the reason for that. The most common kind of kitchen counter material that all builders use is black granites. If your kitchen has a black granite counter, be very mindful and change that.
Okay.
That is one of the reasons which causes diseases in females and also relationship issues between females of the house.
Okay.
And it so happens that the kitchen is in the right direction, but when you are cooking, you are facing the wrong direction. The right direction to face while you are cooking is east.
Okay.
It seems like it seems weird, but it's a fact that while cooking, if a person faces south and cooks, then she ages faster.
Oh, okay.
It has happened, and I've seen that. So please avoid facing south and cooking.
Okay.
Because then no matter how much anti-aging cosmetics you will
You
use,
do, but you're gonna age
Yes.
faster. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
so Vastu in the kitchen, Vastu is very important for the females of the house and overall well-being of the family.
Of the family. Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's say somebody cannot change that in terms of facing south and cooking, and there's a black granite. Maybe they cannot afford to change it. Okay. Are there any small recommendations that you can give that they can do?
Often no, because these are serious.
Okay. These are like
Problems.
Mahavastu thing.
These are not super Mahavastu,
Okay.
but these are the problems which you should change.
Okay.
For like now, the civil engineer in me will speak.
Right.
There are some tiles, which you can, which look like stones, thin tiles, which you can place on the kitchen counter and cover it up.
Okay.
You cannot break it, and you cannot break it and rebuild it, which will cost a lot of money.
Right.
But you can cover it up with building materials, certain tiles, certain things, so that it doesn't affect you wrongly.
Okay. Cool, great. I really appreciate all the insights that you have given us today. The most important question of all in the whole podcast, right? Because we live in a land of these opportunities where everyone or many of these people are into Vastu, astrology, numerology. How can one find the correct person who practices correctly, ensuring that they're going to guide you in a right direction and not make it worse?
Okay, let me give an example. Okay, when you go to a doctor, what all do you see? How do you know he's a new doctor? You have not met him earlier. So what checks do you do?
What checks? So I think first I'll check the review. Maybe first I will try to find someone who's in my connect, like call my uncle, auntie, or friends or family.
Take a reference.
Go to reference. Yeah, go to reference or check the reviews maybe, and see how it works.
And then you will also try to find out when the doctor talks to you. You will try to understand his intention.
Correct.
So do the same with the Vastu consultants. And with due respect to all, please look into someone or consult someone who understands the subject, who has studied the subject. Like after my civil engineering, when I got interested in Vastu, I really studied it and went for different, qualifications in Vastu. So look for someone who understands the subject and has studied the subject in depth, not just any random person, Purohitji or Panditji, who is practicing Vastu.
Right.
That wouldn't be the right
And someone you
decision.
resonate with as well and vibe with as well. It's important.
Of course, but I think that would come as the second step. First, do a background check.
Okay.
And second, when that Vastu consultant is a Vastu Shastra is giving you a recommendation, try to understand his intent. Is he giving you continuously very expensive solutions? So that would be a red flag, right?
Okay, would that be a red flag? Okay.
Because see, Vastu Shastra was written thousands of years ago.
Correct.
But it was written with the intent to help people for well-being of the society, not just for a wealthy few.
Wealthy few, yes.
So had the recommendations or solutions been expensive, could that have been written for everyone? No. So look for these red flags.
Okay.
And also, when you speak to any Vastu Shastri, just keep an eye open. Are they recommending you anything which is sort of voodoo?
What would that be? I mean,
so I met a lady who she came to me because she was consulting someone, and that person charged a very stupendous amount.
Okay.
What several lakhs of rupees.
Okay.
And then she asked, "What will you do with this?"
Yeah.
I rather encouraged her to find out what is he going to do. And this gentleman said that I'm going to wrap or put copper wire all around the floor, which I mentioned earlier. It's not a right thing to do. It's just someone who has studied or heard somewhere that this is a solution is trying to implement. So that is not the right solution. And second, he also said that I'm going to use some cat hair.
Oh, that's going towards black magic kind of thing.
That's going
right?
to black magic. That's going to, I don't know black magic. So, I mean, I don't understand it also with due respect to all. But only one thing which I know, that if something is holistic, it will give you a holistic result. But if something is black magic, it will work for a very short period of time and leaving a lot of side effects. So please don't follow that. So be alert. Just don't dive before anyone that please save me. So because Vastu is a text, it's ancient architecture. Following that, we can help you to correct a Vastu dosh or to elevate a space to meet your life goal. It should not be done with superstition or black magic in mind.
And a good Vastu consultant would even say that what all changes that they will be doing in their home.
Yes.
To ensure that they're not doing any kind of voodoo, or they're not
Absolutely.
going to use lakhs of amount of copper wire just to put up there. Right? Okay. So they'll be open about that.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So if they're not sharing that, then that's again a red flag.
Yes.
Okay.
So a person might come and tell you, "हाँ मैं सब कर दूंगा" बोल के. Initially, they might offer you a very nominal fee, but then he will ask you, give you a lot of solutions, which you may or may not require, first of all.
Correct.
And even if you require, they will give you a very lengthy, long bill.
So stay mindful about that.
Yes.
Okay, great.
As I mentioned earlier, if you are having a viral fever, you should not take pneumonia medicine, right? Similarly, so be mindful about what the other is.
Great. Barnali, I'm truly grateful that you were here with us today.
I am grateful for having to speak to you.
I'm so glad. And you have given us such wonderful tips and recommendations on Vastu today that were very much different than what we had on this podcast before. We spoke about the temples and their ways of Vastu. We spoke about how you can have similar small changes here and there and don't have to worry about spending lakhs of rupees when it comes to Vastu, and keep it simple and nice to it. And I really appreciate that,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And my audience today, I really hope that you have personally enjoyed today's podcast where it comes to learning of the right Vastu Shastra. Vastu Shastra is not here to scare you or give you more trouble. It's here to help you. And it's not voodoo. It's just a simple ancient science that if you understand correctly, then can change a lot in your lifestyle. A lot in your relationship, your health, your wealth, But you have to make sure that you're being connected to the right Vastu Shastra. Today I've had Barnali with us, and you can get connected to her easily through her Instagram account.
Yes.
And
Vastu Next Barnali is my
Vastu Next. And
Instagram.
you have a website?
No, I don't have a website.
We need to get your website.
So I'm there on LinkedIn and on Instagram.
Great.
Anyone
We'll make sure that we'll put up in the description of all her details, and you can reach out to her. What I've understood from her is that she has a very unique and different perspective when it comes to Vastu, and she's here to ensure that she helps you and not scared. So whoever is watching this podcast till now, make sure to share this with your friends and family and let them know that there is a way to fix certain problems that they're facing, and maybe they don't know what the problem is, and maybe Barnali can help you out there. And to all the people, please go ahead and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel @Kabir Vani. Follow my YouTube or follow my Instagram channel @Kabir Vani. And people who have already followed me and subscribed me, I love to them.